Hello everybody. I decided to continue the series with a short film about some details regarding the ABS unit, which is an integral anti-blocking system. And the topic here is sealing. So, which parts are involved in sealing moving parts or fixed parts in the unit, and how can we replace them, or if we can replace them, or if we need to replace them. So, I took apart again the unit, and I'll show you exactly piece by piece which are these components used in sealing. So the first are the O-rings. As I mentioned before, they come in three sizes about what we are interested in. They are not the only O-rings in the unit. In another video I presented that also this connection to the metallic pipes have inside some O-rings. Also these expansion valves have one O-ring which is also used for sealing. But for this kind of rings there is no issue that you could come up with, because for this one they are static, so they are not involved in movements. For sure what they are in your unit will be good, so you will just reuse it. As for the expansion valves, I suggested that you could just, if you are not sure about those O-rings at the base here, you can just add a little silicone and it will be okay. But regarding mounting back putting all the pieces together, these three kinds of O-rings are very important. So the small one is used here at the bottom of the piece, which is with the reservoirs, and will seal towards the face of the pump. So they will come here, something like this, two of them, and they will seal the rest of the face towards the metal piece here. So the circuit of brake fluid through the pump will be through the pump and no other way. This ring, I measure it very carefully, and I came up with a dimension that is 11 millimeters at the exterior diameter, 7.5 millimeters at the interior diameter, and 1.3 millimeters as a cross section. So it's hard to find, but I managed to find something, which is this one. Here are the rings. The dimension is the interior diameter 7.65 and the cross section is 1.63. So it's not exactly like what I measured, but I can tell you it's a perfect fit. So this is a ring and this is the other one. So you can see there is almost no difference between them, and I can assure you it will seal perfectly. So this ring was a perfect fit. The other two now. This one, which is used here at the base of the piston, this will seal towards this ring here. So it will fit between the interior diameter of 33 millimeters, so the base here is 33 millimeters, and the exterior here, where the exterior of the O-ring will be, it's 36 millimeters. I measured this ring, and the dimensions that I came up with are 36.3 for the exterior diameter and 33.7 for the interior diameter. The cross section I measured to be 1.8 millimeters. Anyhow, at the same supplier, I came up with these rings. So they are 33.05 millimeters as the interior diameter and 1.8 as a cross section. So they should work. I'll show you now. Look side by side, and you'll see that these two have not the same cross section. The original O-ring is a little thicker than this one, and when I try to put this O-ring as it will go here, I could see that it's a little bit loose, a little bit, and also I cannot fill too much as the exterior diameter that must seal with its counterpart here. So this is not a perfect fit, and of course it will not seal. So even if the interior diameter is almost okay, and I mean 33 millimeters, the cross section must be a little thicker. So I suggest that I should find another kind of rings that are perhaps 32 millimeters in interior diameter and 2 millimeters in cross section. So the next dimensions that I will look for to see if it is a good fit will be 32 millimeters inside with 2 millimeters cross section. As for the last O-ring, this one is used for sealing the pump towards this ring inside, and also the end of the motor towards the case here. So it will also seal in this place here. So it will be a sealing between a 39 millimeters diameter and the other one is 42. The dimensions that I came up with the measurement were 38.3 for the inside diameter and 42 for the exterior. The cross section I have found it to be 1.8 also. But also hard from the same supplier, I could come with this O-ring. They are 37.82 millimeters of the inside diameter and 1.8 millimeters in cross section. When I try to check them, I'll take one from here to see. And first put it also aside for you to see them. If you carefully see, the same problem as the other one. This one, the original, is a little thicker than this one. So the cross section is not 1.8 as I measure it, but a little higher. And now I'll see how it will fit in the place. And I can see that it stands well. So the interior diameter is very well. It's a good measure. What is not very good is the exterior diameter. And if I'm trying now to put it in position, I'll see that it will enter too easy. So this will not make a good fill here. These rings cannot be used until the cross section is a little bit higher. For this reason, now I'm looking for other rings which will be also 38 millimeters as the interior diameter, but with 2 millimeters in cross section, and I hope that will be a good fit. Next, I presented also this kind of O-rings, which are very special ones, and they will come here in the tip of the pistons, and they will seal the pistons towards the frame here. Well, this is a moving part, so the piston is moving inside the ring. So this is a special ring. It's not just circular. It has a base which is a little bit larger to seal better in the basement, and at the interior it's coming inside, so it will see better to the interior piece of metal, which is this one. Well, I measured also this one, and I can tell you that for this model of ABS unit, the two pistons are the same diameter, and they are 9 millimeters. So the inside must seal on the 9 millimeters. So the inside diameter must be a little smaller, like 8 or 8.5. The exterior diameter, which is at the top, not at the base, which the base is a little larger, is of 16 millimeters. So the diameter of the rubber exterior diameter is 16 millimeters. The depth of the ring is 4.5 millimeters. So also it's a quite elastic rubber, so not so elastic like this one, but almost the same. By the way, do not forget that all the rubbers here are a special rubber that is called EPDM, which is specific for working in chemical environment like brake fluid. It's resistant to brake fluid. Do not use other kinds of rubber because you can find very easy the dimensions that you need, but with other kind of materials, do not use them because they will just melt. They will be deteriorated by the action of the brake fluid. So only look for EPDM O-rings. Okay, now another issue about the sealing is from the pump. There is another O-ring here which is in the pump. When you part the pump from the motor, you'll see that the rotor of the motor is sealed by this rubber ring here towards the pump, so the brake fluid will not pass through to the motor, which is very important because it will damage the motor, of course. And that will bring to my defective motor that I encountered when I disassembled my unit, which is exactly this one, and on which I found that the brushes were totally worn out. The collector was diminished in diameter, so it was a very big friction over there and a high temperature generated. Because of that temperature inside, this ring here, which is rubber, was affected in the way that partially melted and lost its elasticity. So I took this ring out and I tested, and it was obvious that it will not seal like it should. So in case you encounter a motor which was in somehow out of the temperature range when it functioned, like the brushes worn out or too much debris inside, and it's a good question if this ring is okay. So you take it out and see if it will seal good on the axle. And that's very easy, just take it out, put it on the axle and rotate. If it is rotating too easy, then it's not good. I took the dimension also for this O-ring here. This is 5 millimeters in depth, another 5 millimeters in the interior diameter, so the axle is 5 millimeters, and the exterior diameter of the ring is 15 millimeters. So if you find this ring which is very similar to this one, so it looks almost like this one, but which is different to this one here, is that inside here it has a steel spring. So this steel spring will force the sealing on the axle. So this is a very important sealing point. If this is not very well sealed, the brake fluid from the pump will enter the motor and will in short time destroy it. And you'll have a malfunction in the ABS unit. So take care of this one. I could not find a provider, but maybe you are luckier than me. So change it if you need it. An update regarding the motor. This is a defective motor that I took out from my unit, and I just came up to this sealing ring, which is a hard rubber made of, and here inside it has a spring that ensures a proper sealing towards the axle of the motor. Unfortunately, this motor was exposed to high heat, I suppose, and that's the reason the brushes were totally worn out. And for this reason, for the reason of the heat, I suppose that the ring was affected, and now it rotates very easily, so it doesn't seal anymore, even if the spring is in place. So if you do come on over such a situation when the motor is damaged by heat, take in account that these rings must be replaced, otherwise the sealing will not be the proper way and the liquid will enter the motor. So I do not know where to find it. Maybe you'll find it. I'll give you the dimension for it. It's an exterior diameter of 15 millimeters, and the axle that will seal is exactly 5 millimeters. So, and also the depth of the ring is just a little under 5 millimeters. This is not critical though. So if you come across some spare parts, you should change these O-rings in case that the motor was affected by heat. Another point regarding the material which these O-rings are made of, I have to stress that all of them are a special rubber which is called EPDM. So EPDM, look for this kind of rubber, not anything else. So maybe the right dimension you could find on regular rubber or I don't know, Dina rubber or whatever, but do not use that rubber because it will be affected by the brake fluid and will break the sealing in short time. So use only EPDM rubber for these rings. So regarding the rubber rings that I measured, and they came out that what I ordered was even if the dimension should have been right, they were less than the original rings. That could be also because of the tool that I used, which has not a very good precision, and that is a probable cause of the measuring that were not exactly as they should be. So anyhow, I now know the right dimension, or at least I hope that they are the right ones, and I'll continue to find providers just for my sake and see exactly the suppliers that can deliver the right dimension of the rings. The problem is that this kind of material is not too often in the dimensions that I'm looking for, and the dimensions that I'm looking for usually is not in the stock. So of course there are a lot of suppliers and they are all very helpful to make a custom dimension ring. That's no problem for them, but in this case it will be expensive. You should buy at least hundreds of rings to work for them. I do not know if this will work for you. So I'll continue to look for a rightful supplier for these rings. First, I could find this source, global O-ring, from which I ordered the small rings and also the other two sizes. You see them here. Unfortunately, the dimensions that I was measuring with a metering tool like this were not as exactly as I wanted. So only when I received the rings I could see that the small ones were a perfect fit. And for this one, please do remember the information on this envelope here. And I will tell you also that this is 1.63 millimeters in cross section with 7.65 millimeters as the interior diameter. So this is the kind of ring that will be a perfect fit from your unit. The other two were not exactly what I wanted. So first of all, the cross section which I ordered to be 1.78 millimeters here and here were not the same as the original. So they are a little thinner than the original, so I had to skip them. So from this provider I took this kind of ring compared to the original one. If you can see from a closer look, you will see that the right one, which is the one I mentioned, is a little thicker in cross section and a little larger in diameter, just a little. But the problem is the cross section, so this is not usable. The second one, which was number 10, I tried to see if it is a better choice, also compared to the original. You can see easily that it's smaller in diameter and also thicker in cross section. So also it's a no fit. Even so, if we try to put it as it is here in the place, you will see that it will not cover the whole area, but will ensure some sealing. The problem is still the cross section, which is a larger value, and that could be a problem because that will put the motor a little higher. So I don't think it's a good choice too. Nevertheless, The next one, which is 38 millimeters compared to the original that I have here. So the original is on the left. You do not see any difference, either in cross-section or in diameter, interior or exterior. So this is a perfect fit. The same goes to the 32 interior diameter, which will be compared to the original on the left. Also perfect fit. So this could be used very well. And last, just to make a review, you have here the rings that can be sourced in United States and can replace the original O-rings from the unit. I will repeat from you, and I'll show you again the map. The small ones, you can have them from here. So it's www.globaloring.com, and you can find this item on their website and order it. Also on www.oringsandmore.com you have this part, number 38, which is 38 millimeters interior diameter with 2 millimeters cross section. You'll find it on the website under the metric O-rings with cross section of 2 millimeters. The same supply here, in the same place. You'll find also the metric O-rings with 2 millimeters cross section, the number 32, which is the interior diameter in millimeters. Do not forget, for all of them, they must always be EPDM. Do not take anything else, because these are from the materials that will resist to the corrosion activity of the brake fluid. So this is the sourcing from these rings. Unfortunately for the pistons rings, I couldn't find any place, so I just hope that you will not affect yours, or they will not be so weared out so you cannot use them again. And also in my other video I indicated that inside the pump there is a very tough O-ring with a ring with a metal spring inside to make a very good sealing, and that's very important because it will isolate the brake fluid under pressure to the other part of the motor, which the coil and everything, and you do not want the brake fluid to enter the motor, because it will just shut off and make a big mess. So this is the sourcing. I hope you enjoyed my video, and if you did, please 2 thumbs up. Bye.